Hey everybody, Brandon Ward here from ProjectUX. Today we're going to do an unboxing and installation of the Sprinkl Conserve, the first smart sensor for any sprinkler system. This is a device that purportedly can install with any automated sprinkler system to make it a smart system that you can control from your smartphone. You may have seen the UX portion of this segment with our UXperts, Jeremy Johnson, Adam Polanski, and Anita Cater. Ian Woodward-Smith, a partner at Sprinkl, came and demoed the app for us. Today, we're going to see what the unboxing and actual installation looks like. Join us! So the first thing I want to point out is I'm a huge fan of this packaging. One of the things that companies that are building these IoT products for smart homes have really taken to heart is the notion of following the Apple brand guidelines for packaging. You want your product to look like something that you would find in an Apple store rather than Home Depot. Even though Home Depot or Lowe's are going to be the places where you're likely going to sell these, you're often going to sell these in the Apple store as well. So best practice is just to follow their guidelines. And what you'll get from that is a stellar looking product that when it sits on a shelf next to light bulbs and other junk, it's really going to stand out no matter where you put it. And this screams tech. So as a home IoT enthusiast, as I'm walking through Home Depot, I'm going to see a box like this and I'm just going to automatically think, hey, I bet that's IoT. What kind of new tech can I throw at my house? So I happen to be in the market for a smart sprinkler system, and it was literally just kismet that we met up with Ian from Sprinkl. So we're going to give this sucker a shot. As I open the box, which feature I love, we can see two things that I really like. One is the bright bulb product. I love green. It's really going to stand out in my garage. I'm totally okay with that. As you can see, I'm not a stickler for cleanliness when it comes to my workbench. But we've got some simplicity up here. SNS probably stands for sensor. PWR maybe for power. We've got the Sprinkl logo. Over here we have three little LEDs. We've got power, Wi-Fi, and a little water droplet. I assume it maybe indicates moisture condensation or level, something like that. We'll see. Up here though, super important, they have a picture of the app. Two great things about this. One, I know that they have an app. So as someone looking for something like this, I immediately know, yes, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a device that I can install at my house that will make my house a little smarter and that I can control it from my phone. Love that. Second, it's an actual screenshot of what their actual current app actually looks like. And that's really a really big detail, because it helps me gauge how much effort they put into the user experience and aesthetic design. And at a glance, not knowing right out of the box what this does, it looks pretty good. And they have some bullet points over here, which obviously if I'm shopping I'm going to read, but I've already bought the product, so I know what I want. You also have some other details here. What's in the box? Cue Brad Pitt. In the box you have Sprinkl Conserve, some wire, mounting hardware, wire nuts, and an installation guide. What's required is a working 24-volt sprinkler system, Android 4.3 and up, or iOS 9 and up smartphone with BLE 4 and up, Wi-Fi, and you need to install it indoors. On the back there's some helpful information. Save up to 30% on your water bill and improve your lawn. Studies have actually shown you can possibly save up to 50%, but 30% is a very conservative number. Easy installation process, so we hope, and control at our fingertips. So let's see how it works. All right, good now. Open up the box. Guess we don't need that. We've got 4 screws and 3 blue wire nuts. Here we go. Here's the device. It's got an on-off switch here on the side. Pretty simple. Came with a wire, so that's good because I guarantee you I don't have any wire that looks like this. And instructions. Now, as any good installer of things will tell you, generally what you do with this is this. We're actually going to read the instructions because I literally don't know what I'm doing here. So, and plus we need to gauge how well they documented the install process. Looks like we've got an 8-step installation process. So here we go. Step 1. Locate your irrigation controller and unplug it from the power source. Check and check. Step 2 is to mount the device next to the controller. My first problem though is that I still have this device connected, and my system is so old that I'm gonna have to take off the panel to disassemble the old piece of junk. Holy carp. Hopefully things are labeled nicely enough that we'll be able to figure out what's what. So now I'm going to disassemble the mechanism. Now it wants us to mount it to the wall. However, I'm not going to mount it to the wall just yet, as we are somewhat limited in the amount of cable provided. So I always like to run cables first and then mount this accordingly so I have enough slack to work with. Step 3. Now this is kind of confusing because I went 1, 2, 6, but it's supposed to go 1, 2, 3. So at least they're well enough labeled that I know that 6 doesn't come after 2, but it's kind of funky that they're laid out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get why they did it though, but maybe some room for improvement there. Step 3, locate the common and power terminals on your existing controller. Well, if I had an existing controller that was nice, that would be easy. However, I don't. We do have this field wiring diagram though, so that should help. Identify the common wire, which is normally labeled C or COM. So if I look at the wiring diagram, that's this guy. And luckily, the actual wire is labeled common. Yay, we found common. Identify the power terminals, which are normally labeled power, 24 VAC or 24 V. And we know what our power ones are because they're literally connected to the power supply. Step 4 is connecting the wires. You remove the common wire from the irrigation controller and connect it to the left sensor terminal on conserve. Wrap this a bit. We're going to feed this up through the hole. Okay. With the wire threaded up through the box, I'm going to grab the blue one and attach that to the common. Give those a good tug, make sure they're in there secure. So, step 4A, with the common wire connected to the blue extension, we're now going to connect the blue wire to the left sensor terminal. So these screws are nice and all, but if you're going to provide really nice cables like this, a little push action would be really nice to have. This is nice and secure, but with beautiful wires like this, I just want to kind of poke them in. Attach the green supplied wire to the right sensor terminal. Okay. And the other end of the green wire to the common terminal on the irrigation controller, where the common wire was removed in step A. All right. So I think we're good. I'm going to have to make an educated guess here. My system is so old, I don't have a very good diagram of what wire goes to what, but I think this once white wire, now kind of brownish wire, is the other side of the terminal. So when it says attach the green supplied wire to the right sensor terminal and then the other end to the common terminal on the irrigation controller, I'm going to guess it's this. In fact, I may have those backwards. If this is coming from the controller, I may need to switch blue to this and then this to the green. I'm going to do that now. That makes more sense. So I'm going to take the common from the controller and attach that to the green wire. What's nice about having all of this documented is that when I kill myself or break my system, we'll know exactly where I went wrong. Oh, silver lining. All right, now we're going to take the blue wire and connect it to this mystery wire here. I feel like I'm arming a bomb. I think wire nuts are one of the greatest inventions ever conceived. Now we need to connect the red and white supplied wires. So here we are, red and white. First we need to connect the red and white wires to the power terminals. Doesn't say which. Maybe it doesn't matter. So we'll just connect them Red on the left, white on the right. So when it doesn't matter, instead of making me guess and wonder and read and reread and wonder if I missed something, why not just tell me? Say connect the red wire to the left terminal and the right wire to the right terminal. That way, if it doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter. You could also say it doesn't really matter which you connect them to. Now I need to connect the other end to the power terminals on the irrigation controller. So what's left to me are the power wires from the transformer. I've got a line in red and white wire from my controller, and I have a line in red and brown controller, and those both attach to the power supply. And I'm guessing the red and the white need to attach to those. And again, I'm gonna guess it doesn't matter which. So here we go. But I'm gonna need, so this came with 3 wire nuts, and I need 4. There are 4 wires, and they instruct me to connect them to 4 different places, so why only 3 wire nuts? It might be a manufacturing packaging issue, something to look into. But luckily, I have an old wire nut I can use. Oh, I know why. They assumed in your diagram that yours look like this, and you attach your wires to the terminals of your controller, but mine is so archaic that I don't have that. So something to think about if you're going to market your device being able to connect to any system. Well, this is a system, and unfortunately I just didn't have enough wire nuts. So we are connected to the device, we are connected to the controller. What's next? Return power to the irrigation controller. So let's kind of push this stuff back into its hole. Okay, return power to the unit. Moment of truth. All right. I'm going to turn this on. And step 7, switch the power on by putting it into the on or up position. Look at that. The power indicator should be illuminated. It is. Wi-Fi indicator will be flashing while in setup mode. It is. If the power indicator is off, check stuff. It's not, we're good to go. Smartphone app setup. Now I need to connect my phone. So step 8, we're going to install Sprinkl for iOS. So I'm going to come into the App Store and I'm going to hit search, and I'm going to type Sprinkl. Unfortunately, it doesn't pop up. You get a lot of Sprinkle of Jesus and some Sprinkl cupcakes. So I'm just going to hit search. Sprinkl pops up. I'm going to download it. It's a fairly small app, so it should download very quickly. Boom, there we are. Open. Sprinkl would like to send you notifications, including alerts, sounds, and icon badges. I'm okay with this because it's an IoT device whose very nature infers that it's telling me things about my home and my sprinkler system, so I'm going to allow it. I need to register. So it's asking for my full name, email, and password. So this is a little strange. Not sure why it needs my name. The app obviously doesn't need that, and I know what my name is, so why do I have to provide that? Maybe the cloud component requires the authentication, or so that I can connect to the right device. I don't know. It would be nice to have some instructions that explain why you need my email address and what you're going to do with it. Okay. You don't have any Sprinkl devices configured. To add a new device, it needs to be nearby and in setup mode. To enter setup mode, press the power switch up and release. An indicator will be flashing. It is. Add device. We've got a nice wizard stepper. It already found the device. It took like less than a second, which is pretty freaking cool. It identified the network it's on. It jumped me to step 3. I didn't even need to do steps 1 and 2. That's cool. So I'm going to enter my Wi-Fi password. Allow Sprinkl to access your location while you use the app. Sure. It needs to know its installed location in order to receive restriction and local weather information. Cool. Really good instructions as to why you're asking for my address. Love it. I'll go ahead and give that to you. Interestingly enough, it also says the conserve needs to know its installed location in order to receive restriction and local weather information. We have duplicate instructions on the screen, the exact same copy in 2 separate locations. So, do you need to know my precise location via Bluetooth? In which case, why did you need my address? Or did you just need my address? Do one or the other. Better yet, let me pick which one I want. Okay? I'm going to tap next. Sprinkl Conserve can extend your existing controller schedule to accommodate complex watering cycles. To use the custom schedule, your irrigation controller's schedule and zone run times must be configured to daily, starting at the time you normally water. This right here very clearly states turn everything on to water at a specific time every day. Then everything else is handled through the Sprinkl app. Cool. So I'm going to say yes, custom schedule. And then it says frequency. I don't know, we'll do Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Yeah. And water weekly. Sure. Well, sounds good for now. I haven't watered my lawn in over a year, so my lawn will be grateful for anything. You click save, tap save. So with the app on, here we go. And we'll save the actual rundown of the app and its usage for the ProjectUX show. If you look at the Sprinkl itself, power's on, Wi-Fi's connected. Never did learn what the little water thing was for. The instructions are done. Plenty of room for your kids to draw on the back. Oh, I did want to mention, because I love this, I don't know if they mentioned it anywhere here. Let's see if they do. If I were them, I would. There you have a nice bold links here on the phone number you can call Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. This is really cool that they offer support on Saturdays, because a lot of people will be installing these on Saturdays when they have a day off and they're able to tinker around in the yard. That's really cool. However, the 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, probably not going to work. One of the things I love about Nest is when I do have a problem installing at 9:30 at night, because it's when all the kids have gone to bed and I have a chance to mess around with it, when I hit an error, there's support available. They've done a lot of studies to indicate when people are most likely to install their devices, and they ensure that they blanket support for those times. So I'm glad you've got Saturday covered. So instead of 9 a.m. on a Monday, why not have support maybe from, I don't know, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.? You know, maybe offset your hours a little bit. It's just a guess. I don't know what I'm talking about. One thing that they haven't mentioned on here is this is a made in the USA product. It's made right here in Texas. So good on you, Sprinkl. I guess the last step is to see if I can turn on and off my water using the app. Okay, that's today. Engage. It is currently 8 p.m. I don't know how it knows, but okay. Zone 1 should be on. Let's go see if it is. And it is not. Again, I have no idea how that device knows what time it is. Let's try something else here. It's PM. It's on. Zone 2 is off. Zone 3. Zone 4 should be in the backyard. Nothing. So at this point, I don't know if the problem is with my controller or with the sprinkle. Now, I'm 100% sure it's not with the device. I'm pretty sure it would be with how I wired it. So do some troubleshooting here. Oh, this could be why. This is interesting. It says watering restricted. Apparently, I'm not supposed to water today. Sprinkl will automatically download the municipal restrictions for my address. That's why it needed the address or the location at the beginning. It is technically illegal for me to water today. So that may be why the system isn't turning on. So I'm going to disable the municipal restrictions for testing purposes. Now it says watering allowed. So let's turn this back to zone 1.
I totally heard him turn on.
Yeah.
As soon as you did that, it's funny.
Yeah. And let's go check zone 1 again. And there's zone 1. Yes, it looks a little weird. Zone 1 in my yard is this bush system along the side of the house, the front of the house, and that Lone Ranger sprinkler in the middle. So now, the moment of truth. Disable. That is freaking awesome. The bug that we were experiencing at the beginning was because I was trying to turn the sprinkler on an illegal day. And if the police had driven by and seen me watering my lawn, they would have called in the SWAT team and hauled me off, and my kids would have been weeping and wailing and gnashing their teeth. It just would have been a total mess. And Sprinkl totally saved me. But we needed to be able to test the system, and so we manually disabled it. Now I get this nice red warning up here that says watering disabled. With zone 1 turned on still, effectively, if I turn this back on, I think we'll see the system come back on. Oh, with Sprinkl IO, I have effectively, in not a lot of time and in fairly minimal effort, made my archaic 1980s sprinkler system smart enabled and controllable from anywhere in the world. That is amazing. That is the kind of stuff that I want in my home. Well, we're back in the garage. We're going to finish the install. Remember how we didn't quite understand what this little water droplet was for because it wasn't mentioned in the instructions? Well, we figured it out simply by happy accident. When we go into the conservation settings and I enable the restrictions and tap save, the light goes out because it's not going to water. So that's an indication of whether or not watering is enabled or disabled or restricted. So now, with that done, we're going to install it. The last thing, we need to follow the instructions. Remember, it said we needed to enable all days. So on my system, okay, that enables the system to water at any given point, and then when we want to water. One thing I was hoping for in here, because we're new to the area, is when is the best time in Dallas, Texas to water? I mean, I know it's not their job to teach me how to water my lawn, but it would be nice to provide a little link or helpful tips and tricks or a guide maybe at Sprinkl's website, because I trust them now and I want to learn more about how to better take care of my yard. Because as you can see, I have no idea what I'm doing based on the dead patch of grass that was out front. So, I've got all the days enabled. I need to enable what time of day. I'm going to say 6 a.m. So I'll pull these out and go to 6 a.m. Time to close this box and mount this puppy. Screws are a little heavy duty for what it's doing. It actually split the wood here. So and it split the wood there as well. Man. And I definitely don't need 4 of them, so I'm gonna leave it at that. On a scale of 1 to 10, the install was about what I expected due to the age of my irrigation controller, so I'm not going to blame Sprinkl for the difficulty of install, because it wasn't with their device. The difficulty of install was with my device. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10, simply because I think this could be a little cleaner, a little classier looking, and a little bit easier than needing a screwdriver. Presentation, I think the box looks good. It tells me what it's doing. Easy on-off switch. I like it. Doesn't really fit with the garage, but it is green, and it's indicative of dealing with your lawn. So I give it a 10. The app is great. Check out the ProjectUX episode where Jeremy, Adam, and Anita go into depth on the app. I'm not really going to judge it right now. The one thing I will say is when we hit a problem, the app indicated what was going on, and I was able to infer what the bug was. And the bug was it was illegal to water today, so the sprinkler wasn't turning on. Once we clearly saw that and disabled the restrictions, we were able to turn it on. So given that little usability test, and I give it a 10. It was exactly what I needed. Price, at the current time, the price I believe is $99, which I think is really fair for a device that allows me to connect something this archaic to my 2017 smartphone. In a few months, they're coming out with a new device, I think, that actually replaces this as well, or at least works more in tandem with modern devices that allows per zone control. So look forward to that coming out. It'll be a little pricier, but entry-level product for $100 that allows me to upgrade my existing system without having to replace or rewire the whole thing, that's a huge plus. So I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. Ease of setup, I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10 because of the privacy issues with the address and the name and the email address stuff. So aside from the privacy issues, that's the only reason I give it an 8 out of 10. The app setup process itself went really smoothly. So good job on that. I'm Brandon Ward with ProjectUX. Thanks for joining us today.